Welcome everyone to today's episode of The Housing Solution. I'm your host, John, and with me is my fantastic co-host, Sarah. Today, we're diving deep into the high cost of housing and exploring practical strategies to make it more affordable. So, let's get started. First up, let's talk about the factors driving housing costs. What are some of the main reasons why housing is so expensive these days?
Well, it's a complex issue, isn't it? I think one of the biggest factors is the supply and demand imbalance. In many cities, the demand for housing far outstrips the supply, which drives up prices. Plus, there are other factors like rising construction costs, land values, and even interest rates. What do you think, John?
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. Another big factor is zoning laws. In many areas, strict zoning regulations limit the number of housing units that can be built, which exacerbates the supply issue. For example, in San Francisco, the high demand and limited land availability have led to astronomical housing prices. How do you think this affects people's daily lives?
It's a huge burden. People are forced to make tough choices, like living far from their workplaces or sacrificing other essential expenses. I've heard stories of families living in tiny apartments or even multiple generations sharing one home just to make ends meet. It's a real struggle. Speaking of location, how much does the location affect housing prices?
Location is absolutely critical. Proximity to job centers, good schools, and amenities can significantly increase property values. For instance, homes in suburban areas with good school districts often command higher prices. On the flip side, rural areas or neighborhoods with fewer amenities tend to be more affordable. But there's a trade-off. People in these areas might spend more on commuting or might not have access to the same opportunities. What are your thoughts on this?
It's a tough call, isn't it? I mean, you can save a lot of money by living in a more affordable area, but then you're spending more time and money commuting. It's a bit of a catch-22. Have you seen any innovative housing solutions that are helping to address this issue?
Absolutely. There are some fascinating innovations out there. Tiny homes, for example, are a great option for people who want to live more affordably and sustainably. They're small, efficient, and can be built for a fraction of the cost of a traditional home. Another interesting model is co-housing, where a group of people live in a shared community with common spaces and resources. This can reduce individual costs and foster a sense of community. What do you think about these ideas?
I love those ideas. Tiny homes are so trendy right now, and co-housing seems like a fantastic way to build community and save money. I've even heard about some co-housing communities that have communal gardens and shared tools, which can further reduce costs. Speaking of reducing costs, what role do government policies play in making housing more affordable?
Government policies can have a significant impact. For example, rent control laws can help keep rental prices in check, and there are programs like Section 8 that provide subsidies for low-income families. Additionally, some cities are experimenting with inclusionary zoning, which requires developers to include a certain percentage of affordable units in new housing projects. These policies can make a big difference, but they're not a one-size-fits-all solution. What do you think are the challenges in implementing these policies?
Yeah, there are definitely challenges. For instance, rent control can sometimes discourage new development because it reduces the potential return on investment for developers. And inclusionary zoning can be tricky to balance. It's all about finding that sweet spot where everyone benefits. Moving on, what are some financial strategies that individuals can use to lower their housing costs?
Great question. One strategy is to look for ways to increase your income, such as taking on a side hustle or negotiating a higher salary. Another is to reduce other expenses, like cutting back on dining out or using public transportation instead of a car. Additionally, forming a co-buying group to purchase a home together can be a smart move. It spreads the cost and risk, making home ownership more accessible. What about using technology to reduce costs?
Oh, technology is a game changer. Smart home systems can help reduce utility bills by optimizing energy use. Online platforms like Zillow and Redfin make it easier to find the best deals on homes and rentals, and virtual tours can save time and money by letting you see properties without traveling. What are some sustainable building practices that can also help?
Sustainability is key. Using eco-friendly materials, like bamboo or recycled wood, can reduce building costs over time. Solar panels and energy-efficient appliances can also lower utility bills. Green roofs and rainwater harvesting systems are other great options. These practices not only save money but also have a positive environmental impact. How about community-led initiatives? Have you seen any successful ones?
Absolutely. Community land trusts are a great example. These are nonprofit organizations that buy and hold land for the benefit of the community. They can offer affordable housing options by keeping land costs low. Another example is community-supported housing, where local residents come together to build and maintain affordable housing units. It's all about working together to find solutions. What about the rental market? How does that affect housing costs? The rental market plays a huge role. In many cities, the rental market is tightly linked to the housing market. When home prices rise, so do rental prices, as landlords pass on their increased costs to tenants. This can create a cycle where it's difficult for people to save enough to buy a home. One strategy is to look for areas where the rental market is less competitive, or to consider longer-term leases that lock in lower rates. Any personal stories or success stories you've come across?
I have a great one. A friend of mine moved into a tiny home on a friend's property. They pay a very low rent in exchange for helping with the garden and some maintenance. It's a win-win situation. They've been able to save a lot of money and are now planning to buy their own tiny home. It's a creative solution that works for them. What's the most innovative solution you've seen, Sarah? That's a fantastic story. Another innovative solution I've seen is a community in Europe where they've created a cooperative housing project. Residents pool their resources to buy and develop a plot of land, then they design and build their own homes together. It's a collaborative effort that ensures everyone has a say in the process. This model can be really empowering for people who want more control over their living situation. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us, Sarah, and thanks to our listeners for tuning in. Stay tuned for more episodes of The Housing Solution. Thanks, Sarah. It's been a great discussion. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring solutions to the housing crisis. Bye, everyone.